bigger than me. I don't care.
I can't do that. Too high, too high.
Wasting energy here. Right? A lot of it. We got so many dolphins.
What?
You guys I was a tan.
I was just trying to place his face.
There was a tan?
It wasn't that bad.
There's a guy from my original group and I can't remember his name either.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not with you guys.
It's so hard.
I think Wayne asked me if I wanted to volunteer to leave, and I was kind of like, the fuck is this? Like, I was not happy about that, but I think that was when I was like, well, I probably should just leave then. So, you know, I was here for a short time and it was a good one. It was okay. So when we actually picked the acorns to decide who was going to be deciding who left, I just volunteered beforehand and said that I would try my luck somewhere else. So then Wayne picked the acorn, and that's fine, I was going. But what I thought was crazy was that he made Carolyn leave as well, even though she was the person who had said most of everybody that she really, really wanted the top. That just seemed like a bit of a strange move to me, but I also think that Wayne and LJ and the other guy whose name I can't remember definitely had like a bro-y thing happening.
And we had kind of joked around that we were kind of whispering to ourselves that Alex was the last one to show up, and we kept hearing, we're waiting on Alex, we're waiting on Alex, as we're blindfolded sitting in cars and sweltering. And my first thought was, Alex is the first one to go. If he's gonna make me sit here and sweat in a car, Alex has to go. And so we got through, and then we were deciding on who was gonna go where, and I said, Alex, do you wanna volunteer? Do you care about going somewhere? I'm trying to encourage him to go to the other tribes. And he didn't do it, but
I know that I have a big mouth. I'm hoping I'm not annoying people, but I think we're kind of a tribe of a bunch of big mouths, so I don't think that's been an issue.
Laura, correct? Laura has alpha tendencies. I just don't know if she has the ability to carry out the alpha duty, which can very well be conflicting in a tribe. So I'm hoping that doesn't put a lot of pressure on. In just brief interactions with her specifically, I feel like she wants to be a decision maker. She feels very proud to be here, feels in control. And I think if she had her way, if I was to make a guess, survivors would be out. So she can tell me that she'd want to align with me, but I'm fairly certain that she would correlate a game plan to take us out first. Everyone else seems really great, really open. If they're playing the game already, they're doing a damn good job.
So what that means in the game of Survivor is that there's no reason to be going anywhere or talking in smaller groups. The thing about the real game of Survivor, and probably why alliances form so quickly, is that you have to go and collect things in order to build a shelter. And while you're doing that, these one-on-one conversations begin to happen. This tribe has been together now for maybe 4 hours, and not a single person has had the opportunity to have real one-on-one full conversations with someone besides just walking together and maybe a few short words. So it's really hard to play in this kind of atmosphere because you can't pull someone aside. If you pull someone aside, then you're the guy that's overplaying. So one of the things that I think people do wrong in Survivor is they don't read the vibe of the tribe. And if they're a go-go-go player, then they do the go-go-go thing. But a go-go-go player on this tribe isn't going to do well.
I like Adam, so that's a good thing. But I have to be completely honest now because Adam knows who I am, and Adam knows what I do for a living. And I've spoken with Adam, I've interviewed Adam, I've written stories about him for People magazine. So any chance that I had before of lying about who I am is gone. So I had to immediately just say who I was, say what I did, and fortunately I have a good relationship with Adam, and I'm glad that he's on my tribe.
Just in the short amount of time that we got to go through those 3 little challenges, that's why when I walked over, when they split off, I walked over and they said they needed. I said, I'm not leaving you, Abby. I'm not leaving Abby. I'm staying. So I just think she's going to take it. But as far as other survivors and stuff, everybody who got on Survivor is a competitor. Everybody has a game, and they're going to bring it and they're going to have fun with it.
Eliza and I were like, okay, fine, we'll go start the new tribe. And then people, a couple of our own people we had been with, or I don't even know if it's a tribe, but came over to us, and Abby came over, and then John came over, and we're like, no, go back, that's too many. And he stood there, and he was like, no, I want to be with Abby and Sunday. And no, go over there.
Sunday and I kind of winked at each other early on, saying like, let's stick together. And there was also I would say Austin as well. Really, we were kind of like, let's stick together. We were in the canoe together early on in the first challenge, and so we just had a vibe. We connected at another level. So, and we were separated from the other 4, so we immediately kind of created an alliance. So when I got to the corral, I thought, I'm going to stick with Sunday, and we agreed that, and we didn't care whether we had fire. I mean, there were people, I did want fire, of course, but it meant more to me to be with people versus having some comfort.
So Dan, on my initial grouping, from probably about 2 minutes into us opening our eyes, was like, hey, you're the Survivor Maryland guy. And I had not really considered hiding it because I figured somebody would probably know. There's enough people in the community that know about it, so I wasn't really going to hide it. I don't think me hosting gives me any advantage. I mean, I actually do think it does, but I don't think it really, people would perceive that as being an advantage just because I've produced and hosted and edited. It's not, there's no real strategy I've gained being able to go through it and build those relationships. So anyway, so Dan came out to me and was like, you're the Survivor Maryland guy, and I said, yeah, that's awesome, like really cool to hear that you even know about it. And we didn't talk about it too much, but I think that I got the sense that he did like me for it, or at least appreciated me and thought it was cool to meet me. So I've been talking about it with my tribe, just trying to show that I'm passionate about this and that this is kind of a dream come true for me to be playing the game. I think the other person that, as far as I know, may know is Adam Klein actually watches my show as well. So Adam has commented on my episodes. Adam and I, like, we don't know each other, but he knows my show. I've seen him comment, so I think that could be a bonding point for us if we're ever on the same tribe. It's Abby and then Sunday, who's back with a vengeance. I mean, she was not happy with that edit, and I understand why, and she's not going to have it happen again. And I see already that she's like, so it was the 4 of us, and they like dragged me into an alliance like really early on, which is a good point. But I also don't want to play necessarily with, I'm trying to figure out how the power balance is working in this particular alliance that I'm in right now, or this tribe, really. It's not even an alliance. Like, I don't...
I feel like in the initial part, I don't even know if I remember her name, Candace, maybe? Might have rubbed a few people the wrong way. She started right off the bat by saying how trustful she was. You could trust her, and she would never lie to you, and blah blah blah. And that, as a Survivor fan, is like, okay, how many times have you lied to me already?
I hope I've tried to make contact and make a connection with every person. Tried to find something in them in common that they can find me relatable on some level. Susie, I'm actually interested, and hopefully at some point we'll tangle back up in this wild ride. She's 60 years old, but she was funny and smart, and just like you find things in people that might work for you in the game later on.
I don't think I'm a target, just because I think I was pegged as the underdog anyway. I was older. They're like, oh, she's really slow, she's old, and so I think that's a strategy when you're older and they don't think that you're capable of doing anything. So you can play under the radar and actually get further in the game.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they might think like, oh, she's really playing kind of dumb and she doesn't really want to do that, and then I end up getting further than I think. always surprise myself.
I know 1 in 5, and
One
maybe
for
not.
sure is Trish.
Okay.
Trisha or Trish? I forgot exactly.
Either's fine.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
We really clicked.
Okay.
She's a math teacher.
Okay.
And math is my favorite. I'm a computer science major type of thing. We just started talking, and I was looking for someone. I'm one of the oldest people in the game, so I'm looking for someone younger and female and athletic. And she coaches basketball and softball.
Okay.
You know, so I thought, wow, you know, she's perfect. And then we worked together in figuring out the ropes and figuring out the stick thing. And we were the two that knew the survivor questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So when we had that whole split, we were bummed because the 8 of us were like, this is going to be a good tribe. We thought we were pretty strong. When we ended up splitting, it actually, I think, kind of worked out well because we were 4 and 4, so we can dominate 2 tribes and just vote out the other 2 extras that we got. So I felt good about that. But now we've got 3 survivors, and I'm afraid those 3 are gonna, you know, match up, and then it's gonna be 3 on 3. Also, this tribe feels kind of the older tribe. I feel like I'm on the younger side, and I don't feel like I'm all that young, and so I'm afraid maybe the older people could team up. So.
I don't really know. I think that if we ended up going to tribal tonight, if that did happen, I imagine it would be kind of a crapshoot. There is a girl named Bethany. She's also from Chicago. That's nice in the sense that it builds some camaraderie. And there's a guy named Nick as well, and he, both Bethany, Nick, and I, we all follow Rob, has a podcast, and we're big rap fans. We might be able to find some camaraderie there. Nick is a little bit quieter, so I don't know how that would work in terms of like building relationships and that sort of thing, and being able to get enough information. You know, I could see him as somebody that's like a number, but I don't know if he's going to put himself out there to help establish a group and a vote and numbers. So not really sure about that yet, but
I think like Katie probably, Adam, and then Steve, and then I guess Nick and Candace more on like feel more on the fringe right now, but I think Nick is just quieter, so that could be why. But Katie and I are both from Chicago, so we've got that, and I think Adam's like really close in age to me, so.
Find common ground with everybody. You know, I feel like we can relate on a lot of levels, but in general, people on this tribe are kind of vocal, so it's a little hard to like get a word in, but I'm doing my best.
I think because me, Wayne, and Kayla were all in the same car together, we think. And so he wanted us 4 to be together. And of course we all said yes, but we're going to tell him no. So I think Wayne is probably my number 1, probably, without us solidifying anything. And then LJ's been kind of looking towards me, so I don't know if he's just like looking at it and talking to everybody, or so I'm hoping that us 3 can stay strong together. So
I just get like good vibes in general from like Dave. He just seems like he's like a dad, and so I just like that, find it comforting. But no one's talked to me about strategy, which I don't know if I should be concerned about or not. Like in the normal game I would definitely be, but also I know people kind of like play slow to start, so I don't know, maybe there's a plan to get me out.
I started checking for idols as soon as they blindfolded me in the room. I was checking under the seats, on the table. I checked in the cars. I've been trying to quietly check for idols everywhere I could, but mostly I've been trying to build bonds with people. On our tribe, we have Kayla's very quiet, Wayne, very outgoing, gregarious personality. LJ, former survivor, real survivalist kind of guy, knows what he's doing. So I've been trying to build bonds with people as best I can.
I mean, I know I'm not going to be the best in challenges, but not being the worst is one of my strategies. And then also, like I said, just building relationships with the right people. Like Sunday, and I feel like Sunday's kind of like a give or a take. She's either going to take to me and like want to work with me, or she's just playing me this whole time. I haven't really quite decided yet.
I wanted the tarp because
I mean, fire's great, but I don't care about eating for 3 days. That's not going to bother me to not eat for 3 days. But it will bother me if I'm sopping wet and miserable. So the tarp would have been my first choice. Obviously, fire would be second.
For sure.
Because it's light, it keeps the bugs away, and it's warmth. So if it gets cold at night, that's going to help. But I was definitely wanting to stay with the tarp.
I'm coming in here thinking survivors are out. We're just that little... We're like that queen on the chessboard. If there's an opportunity to get us out with suicide or whatever, we're going out. That's how I feel like a lot of it starts to play, but for whatever reason, it never gets played that way.
Basically, to come across to everybody the same way that they saw me on TV, meaning underestimated. If they're a person that doesn't look into the edit too much, they may think that I wasn't making any moves, but I was. But I would rather let them think that that's how I actually played, that I wasn't making moves, that I just was, floating through the game. I plan to find a couple of shields, or at least one, that I can work with that would be a target before myself. I will heavily rely on my social game because that's the best skill set that I have for the game, which is why I picked kind of tonight was one of the people that volunteered to go on the relationship tribe. I think that if I can get through the first few challenges tomorrow and get in good with whoever we're going to end up with socially, then I feel like I put myself in a good position.
My gut feeling is that I really like this group. There's a lot of people that I think I could work with here, but the problem is I don't know who I would want to vote out. So this might be a really challenging situation. If this is my tribe, I don't really see anyone that's going to be like an obvious target right off the bat. That's not good for me because I am the obvious target right off the bat. As someone who has played Survivor, as someone who has won the game of Survivor, if everyone is getting along, that's bad news for Adam Klein. So, I like this group, but do I necessarily want to all stay together? I don't know that makes the most sense for me. So, when an opportunity came up and there was too many of us and they said, well, someone's going to have to go, and I see Sunday on the other tribe, and I see Austin, from the host of Survivor Maryland, who is someone that I'm familiar with, that I've talked to on Twitter before, that I watched Survivor Maryland before I ever went on Survivor in the first place. I see a couple friendly faces over there, and if there are only 6 people in a tribe, even if people know that Sunday and I are together, if I can bring in Austin, that's 3, that's enough. And then Nick wants to come over with me, and if Nick wants to come over with me, it's because he probably wants to work with me. So boom, 4, going to the other tribe makes total sense now. So Candace selects The Rock to choose. I say, let's decide this as a group, because I want Candace to choose me. I want to be sent to the other tribe. I like the people that I'm with right now, but I don't know who the obvious targets are. If I go to the other tribe, I have people that I know I'm going to align with, which makes everybody else an obvious target.
I'm trying to view the survivors as individual people just as they would be in the rest of the game, because I don't view that they have a major advantage in this format. The one concern I have is obviously that if we let them all go too far, they're going to team up and work together and take all the newbies out, because that is just such an obvious divide. It's just overt that there are survivors and non-survivors. But Sunday is low-key enough that, and really just normal and awesome, that I view her as someone I can trust and someone I can be an ally with. I don't feel 100% with her because I feel like she's more on game-wise than a lot of the people here, but I think that she's not someone that really intimidates me. Adam is also somebody I really like to work with. I feel like we have really similar personalities. He's watched Survivor Maryland. It's a plus in my book. So I'd like to work with him. So that's where I'm looking at individual pieces and not them as one big conglomerate yet. But if they seem to be more of a conglomerate at some point, then I think I would have to start worrying about it and taking them out.
We tried to talk a little bit about strengths, what people are good at for challenges. But I'm going to really have to see it tomorrow to figure out, okay, is there someone who's actually a weak link? But I think all 6 of us are going to be able to carry our own in some way. My guess is that Kayla might be the weakest of us. But I could see us not having to go to tribal for a while.
Nobody is like terribly annoying, which I know that can be the case at the beginning. So I don't want to vote anyone out based on that. I'd probably vote out Laura just because she knows a lot. She seems to know a lot of people too, very connected. So I find that intimidating.
It would be smart of them to take me out first, because if I get to the merge, I have a chance of making it to the end, because I do have relations with those Power 4, and I can I wouldn't even work with them because I'm a little afraid of them. I'd probably lure them into my web and then cut them. I'm very what you see is what you get, but I think people take a long time to decide that they like what I'm giving them. It's not me that changes, it's them that their opinion of me changes over time. Okay. And I guess that's just looking at the aggregate of my actions and seeing that generally I'm a nice guy, and that I but I'm weird. I'm a little bit off, and I know that. And I think most people who play Survivor are a little bit off.
Trisha and Dan, I don't know them that much. Mike, I actually played with in a charity event in California.
To give kids a reality rally.
A reality rally. Yeah. So I probably wouldn't vote for him right now. So maybe Trisha or maybe Dan.
I think Dan a little bit was like, okay, you guys do it. I'll just watch what you're doing. Okay. And then he would help out a little bit, but he was like, I don't want to get my hands dirty digging. It's like, okay. But we're all, gung ho on that. And eventually, I figured out, I thought these clever people probably put it right back at the trunk that we started with. So then we found one that worked, and we came back, and I found it under the trunk. So that was good.
I would do what Sunday and Liza told me to do, which on the one hand might just be voting out Nick, although that would be awkward because then I'd be the one person left. I wonder if they might push. I think if I had to pick somebody right now, there's a bug down my neck. Oh God. I'm so sorry. I can't deal with this nature thing.
This is actually good. Don't worry.
If I had to
that
vote
will
somebody,
make the cut, by the way.
I would probably, I think, Abby. I feel so bad because she's a nice mom and she loves Survivor, but everybody here loves the show. So,
Then why vote her out? What's about Abby that you?
It's not that I dislike her at all. I think she's great, but my gut is that she might just be the first one to go if we were to vote, just based upon little things where interactions maybe just didn't. I don't know, it's so difficult to read into people's body language because you just I'm British, so we do things totally different. Everybody else hugs and I'd rather shake hands, so I'm probably totally off with so much stuff. I mean, I actually literally I just don't care as long as we can vote somebody out and it's not me first. I really don't mind. I don't care.
Let me think about it for a sec. I mean, I hate to say it because I like everybody, but I think Alex is probably the weakest link in terms of physical ability. But he adds so much humor that I wouldn't want to give that up. I think, what do I think they're saying? That I help out. I'd like to think that they'd think I'd help out and I'm easy to be around. I kind of like everybody until I'm proven that I shouldn't trust you or shouldn't like you.
It was a group decision in the end. I mean, she felt terrible. She did not want to be the person doing it. So eventually, we thought we could send Nick and Adam and then make the other tribe make the decision. But apparently that wasn't against the rules. So that's why Adam ended up coming back. And then Susie eventually volunteered after we all just stonewalled her. No one was saying anything, no one wanted to go, and so Susie eventually was like, okay, I'll go to this other tribe. But I mean, I think that whatever tribe split up immediately into 4 and 4, that was we were that should have been our strategy. But once we decided we wanted to try and stick together, then we were screwed.
I think I'll be okay. I'm not too worried about puzzles, or I'm not worried about jumping through hoops and loops and that kind of thing, untwining myself. The water challenges, maybe I can swim, so I'm not so worried about that, but it just depends on what the challenge is. What if I have to carry something in the water and it's just too heavy and I can't do it? Okay. So I'm not too worried about all of it. I'm not too worried about it. I think it's gonna be okay.
And the rule of thumb, the unwritten rule was you keep strong people around till at least the merger, and then you start voting them off. So I'm thinking, well, I'm clean and green till at least the merger, so I started the fire with the flints, just like I did here a little while ago. Started the fire. I found the food in the surf in Thailand, gathered the crabs and all that. When I found the water with the map, nobody else could do that, So I'm thinking, man, I'm contributing. This is cool. I'm going to be valuable to the tribe. And my problem, honestly, was that I was playing the game of survival, which is different than the game of Survivor, and so I was just out there being the quintessential Louisiana sportsman's paradise kid, and forgot to really play the social game. And so when we lost that first challenge, then when you're that early in the game and somebody says, vote the preacher off, if your name's not the preacher, it sounds like a good plan to you, And so it's interesting though, because when I did get voted off, it was like 3 or 4 of the team tribe mates actually came to tears. They were literally crying. Jeff was like, "Wow, this is weird," And so I learned just really to play the right game, which isn't to go out and be a survivor, but just to kind of connect with the people. And so, really, if anything, that's what I want to do now, is just connect with folks.
I guess it's still so early. I mean, we're still kind of in this assumption that we're not a full tribe yet. So, we don't have. So when we first got the 8 of us together at the very beginning, we were told that we were a tribe, and we were kind of referred to as the red tribe offhand. And then when we went into the corral, we were like, okay, we're a tribe. And then we had this whole switch thing going on. And when we finally got over here, we were like, well, we still don't have shirts. We still don't have a name or anything that would kind of put us together. And none of us could remember them calling us a tribe of the 6. So we're still not convinced that that's a thing.
I mean, Trisha, as far as I'm concerned, is my person in this game.
Okay.
I think that she is also good at perceiving how people are going to behave, and she's loyal, which I like. And I feel like we're both, it's sort of like Hansel and Gretel thrown into this underworld of people who may or may not be good, and sort of like the series of unfortunate event children.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just sort of looking at each other like, what the fuck is happening?
Do you see? I've talked with Dan a little bit, but he's very loud and outspoken, and sometimes those people go first. So I don't know if I want to align there. I really like Carolyn. Susie and I had a chat walking up to the bathroom, so I feel like I have options. I don't feel like I have anything solid. I mean, we talked about keeping the 4 from our original walk-in together, but
I really like Abby. We're similar because we're both moms, and that was great. I really like Trish. She's a little bit quiet, and I kept talking to her. I like Austin, but Austin does not know when to stop talking. He talks a lot. And so he's great, sweet kid and everything, but I probably sometime tomorrow, if I happen to still be with him, may just suggest that maybe he not talk quite so much.
I've had years of hosting to think of strategies, to see what works and see what doesn't work. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what my real coherent, obvious strategy was going into this. But I just think overall you can't figure out what your game is going to be until you're there, until you're playing, until the people are here. So now that I'm here, I still don't know. It still depends on how the tribes shake out. It still depends on who ends up being on my tribe. Right now I want to get a solid alliance. I feel like I have that. I feel like I can trust Abby and Sunday. Sunday, I'm a little bit worried about just because I don't know how much of a gamer she is. She's played the game before, but I do feel pretty good with her, and I think it makes sense for us all to stick together. If we can carry that into the first swap or whatever there is, through a few early votes, take out maybe one of those 2 guys in the other tribe, maybe take out Liza, then we'll be good to go. And from there, I would feel good.
I think that I am the type of person who I can be a leader, and I don't step up until it's necessary for me to. So like when other leadership fails, or when the things that we're doing aren't working, that's when I'm able to come in. and then it kind of there's no target on me necessarily in that sense. And also I work with kids. I work at the Y, so I think that I'm fairly good at pretending to like somebody when I actually don't, because that happens with kids all the time.
Laura talks a lot. I mean, I thought I talked a lot, but I've been trying to like mellow myself. Like, this is not who I am. This is not, people don't think I'm a Survivor super fan. I have the logo tattooed on my foot, for crying out loud. So I'm trying to like hide that and like act like I've never seen like anything more than one time. So I'm just letting them burn their own bridges and let them self-destruct, and me just kind of like just chill. I've learned that from previous games I played, that not being who you really are backfires, but if you're a loud personality like I am, it tends to backfire. So I'm letting the other loud people self-destruct.
I think naturally the biggest threat is going to be LJ, just because people know who he is, so they'll gravitate to him because they feel like they already have a bond, even if it's a one-sided bond. I don't necessarily think he actually is the biggest threat, but I think that a lot of people are going to want to try to work with him. So I don't actually see him, after the puzzle and everything, I don't see him necessarily being like a puzzle master. I'm not scared of him. I'm more scared that people are going to go to him first instead of me.
I think if we had to do something right now, just because we don't know what we're going to get for challenges tomorrow, I think we would probably vote out Laura and keep Dave. Because I think it's probably wrong to say it, but I think he'll kind of follow the herd. I think Laura's a little bit of an independent thinker and will go out on her own. And so if we had to, probably Laura's the first casualty. And that may be the case, when we start voting out people, but I hope we can go a while without doing anything like that.
In terms of people in the other tribes, there's some well-known personalities out there. Sunday, obviously, I know I lived in Minnesota for 16 years, so if I can hook up with her, that'll at least be a bond, because she's also from Minnesota. But then you got the Steve Hellings of the world, on Naked and Afraid, and is well-known. So I know, and then there's Mike Kimura, who is also, he listens to the same podcast I listen to, so I've communicated with him online a little bit, not about this. So there's some people threatening in the other tribes, but also people I hope I can build some bonds with.
Probably Susie would be out first, because Carolyn seems like she could help us a lot in the challenges first.
Yeah.
But then that might be, but then we're also afraid that John will see himself as needing to join up with the other survivors, and that puts us at 3-3.
Well, when we first were splitting up and we went, we had to make the 4 teams, we had a really good group of 6 of the people from our original 8, all there with the flint, with the fire, and I was like, this is great. And then the other team wouldn't budge, they wouldn't move, and when things started shuffling again, I was looking forward to being with that group that I was with, and now with this group, I think everyone's great. But I just felt like I probably would have more in common with the others. I think maybe it's some age.
I think What happened was that our tribe was wanting to stay together. And so 6 people were staying together, and then I was finding myself out there with Susie with 4 other people who weren't from our tribe. And I thought, this is a recipe for me getting voted off first. So I'm like, screw this, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna go off with Susie, who, over and be the minority over there. So I was just like, we can't come to a consensus. Let's just sit our ass down and let them figure it out from there. Ultimately, that did end up screwing a couple people from our tribe, including Susie, which is unfortunate because now they're in the minority, but 6 of us got to stay together. And the only thing that would have made it better for me is if we had gotten some sort of supplies or anything.
It's interested to see what's going to happen with, why don't we have same colored shirts, and what's going on here? Like, are we going to be 3 tribes? Are we going to be 2 tribes? What's going on? I got to figure that out.
Happy?
Is it old? Is it young? I want to know.
Would you be happy or not happy if this was, in fact, your tribe and you got t-shirts?
Well, I'll be fine. Because you know what? I'm a team player, so if I'm on this tribe, I'm still gonna do my very best to try to help, get ahead with this team. That's our goal. We have to do that.
I don't think we're staying down there. There's been, and of course we're chattering about it.
I think we were called a tribe initially, and we're, I think, a little bit hopeful that we come back with our original group. We haven't been given t-shirts, we haven't been given a name, so, you know, it doesn't seem official. We may spend the night down there, we may not. I think we're getting to know each other a little bit, and tomorrow will be an all-telling day.
I think the main goal of the group was we wanted to stay together as much as possible, and so we all sort of ran over to one station. There were 6 of us there, and then the other 2 came in, and we were all 8 of us there. Obviously that couldn't happen because we needed 6 people on each tribe, so it just turned out that we had to send different people to different places. But I think what we should have done instead was we would send 4 people to one tribe, 4 people to another tribe, so that no matter how that shaked out, we would still have the numbers on each tribe, on each 6-person tribe.
In an ideal world, Adam helps our group move along together. Assuming we are a group and a tribe, because we don't have beautiful like matching t-shirts or anything. So there's a lot of suspicion and wonder going around and exactly what's going on, and if we're actually going to be sticking together, if we'll all end up maybe tomorrow morning back together with the full 8 people that we started with this afternoon. Or if we just all get switched around again and this is all just another big farce. So we're all just expecting the unexpected at this point.
The big downside right now is that there isn't somebody that I think we can all gather around and say that's the person to go. I say that unless the other 5 are sitting around and saying that Steve is the person to go. Then I'm screwed. But I look at the 6 of us and think, I like everybody here. I could work with everybody here. So who's gonna be the one we vote off? And when there were 8 of us, I kind of thought I would gun for Susie. Oh, there's not 8 of us anymore, and Susie's not here. So I don't know who I'll gun for, and I don't know who's going to gun for me, because I do think we like each other, and 3 of them have recognized me, so I'm hoping to be able to use that in some way.
If we were to vote right now and I were to go home, I would probably put the blame on Steve Helling, probably, just because I don't think that anyone else, from what I've seen so far, is a vocal leader, is someone that's going to say, here's what we're going to do, or even, bring up the idea of like, who are we going to target or who are we going to align with. I so far have had a grand total of 0 strategic conversations in the course of this game, and maybe I'm the only one. Maybe somehow this tribe that has all been sitting together in the same place the entire time is running off and having a ton of strategic conversations, and I'm totally oblivious to all of them happening. But from my perspective, I have had none, and I would be surprised if there were a lot going on.
Actually, I didn't know any of the survivors that were coming to play, and the only person that I've ever met out of the survivors that are here is LJ.
Okay.
So I don't really know any of the others.
Did you watch your seasons? Do you have any opinions on them from that perspective?
It's really funny because I've watched every single season of Survivor.
Yeah.
But I'm old. My memory.
There's a lot going on. Yeah.
No, I'm not one of those fans that remembers every single solitary season. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I remember the most recent because those were the most recent. Mm-hmm. So. John's season, I don't remember. Susie's season, I don't really remember. Yeah. I remember Sunday, I remember Adam, that's kind of just the newer season. So, do I know how they play? Absolutely not.
If there was anybody that really stood out as a threat to what I want to accomplish, because I've aligned myself with the people that are probably threats. I've aligned myself with LJ. I've aligned myself with Jessica. And I think those are probably, I wanted to come in and have a male meat shield. I wanted to have that guy that, I got a survivor who's strong and athletic and will be a monster in challenges. I have 3 things that will get rid of him before they get rid of me. And I wanted to have a strong, smart, athletic female who's probably younger than me. And I got both of those, so we can always go, you know what, probably if we get down to a jury, they're probably going to give it to a female rather than a male. So we can I always have to, a way to get rid of her too. But though, if I could work with those 2 the rest of the way, I think we're probably the threat.
Well, as far as sleeping, we're not going to sleep. We're gonna be one eye open. We're gonna hear noises. There's gonna be rustling in the bushes. There's gonna be all sorts of stuff. So I already laid down that I'm not a cuddler because I get too hot and I get uncomfortable. I move all the time. So I don't really know we haven't really dug into people's personal lives, but I know that plays a role and it's going to be interesting to watch and see how it unfolds, and I'm sure they haven't done it yet, but who sleeps where, who sleeps next to who touches who, like that all stuff is actual real stuff, because when you break somebody's barrier with contact, it goes one of two ways. Like you just embrace that energy, or you're like, oh shit, get nervous or whatever it is. So I plan on taking the edge and just seeing what I can see. I wish we had a fire, because then you can really see how people interact.
So when we were going through after the first, I think it was the puzzle, there was a bag hanging from one of the trees that I spotted. So ran over to grab it. I was the first one to touch it, so I opened it, read it to everybody, and it said a clue to, or this piece of paper could be used as a disadvantage to an opposing team, or we can wait until the merge and use it against a person. So I don't know when I will play that. If I feel like I'm at a point where it might be me, or if we're trying to get somebody else out, it's between me and somebody else to use it then, but it's going to be situational, I think.
Survivor is, and this is a good rendition of it, Survivor really is the social game. Mm-hmm. But you can't negate totally the physical game either, okay? So as a team, we built the fire. I'm the one that actually struck it, and got it, but we were all working together mm-hmm. with it. As a team, we'll get firewood, or as a team, we'll sit down and talk about some things. And so while my natural state of, being an outdoorsman wants to kick in and do some stuff, mm-hmm. I'm checking myself now, whereas before I didn't. I'm checking myself and saying, don't go by yourself. Yeah. Be the social game player,
because I'm going to be so terrible at everything, but I'm so stubborn that I'm just going to push through it. It's going to be so bad. I also think that I'm going to be a real sentimental wreck. I'm going to try and be somebody who's cutthroat and then just fail miserably, because I can't even pick somebody to vote up first. How am I going to deal with it if I actually make it to the merge? Which, who the fuck knows if that's going to happen? But I guess I'd like to think I could vote for everybody, but I just don't know. I don't know. I really have no idea.
Abby, who was in my tribe in the beginning and now, I feel like she's going to be a really strong competitor, and I'm not sure that I want her around very long. And that worries me too, because I'm kind of starting to work with Sunday a little bit, and it seems that Sunday and Abby have a really good connection.
Well, I really like the group of people that I'm with. I'm hoping that we stay together. In an ideal world, we'd have some sort of reason to get up and move, so maybe we can start to have some more individualized conversations, and maybe to begin some of that strategic talk. Perhaps it's a good thing that we're not all rushing to it too early, because I don't want to be that over-aggressive person that gets voted out because they were the one that started making the short list, the first person to start naming names. But it is advantageous to have some of those personal relationships right off the bat.
It could very well be me, because I've been honest about being a returning player, and even though I've been honest about it, that does weigh heavily on a lot of people's minds of, well, she has already played before. She's an easy target. It makes sense. So if that happens, and I did say this in my statement earlier, building friendships to me are more important than alliances, even though alliances in this game, in this moment, are their life. Hopefully I've met some incredible people, so if I do go home, then I don't regret my flight to Maine, but hopefully it won't be me.
Why? Really have no idea who goes home. To be honest, I'm not convinced that this is our final tribe for the night. I noticed we didn't have shirts, which has been a big topic of discussion here. We were never given a tribe name, and also I was very careful to read exactly what was said on the original parchment we were given at the beginning of the game, and it called that group a tribe. And then Mike, who was leading us through that whole adventure, kept referring to us as the Red Tribe. So I don't know if that was a temporary tribe. There's been some speculation that maybe we'll rejoin with that group.
Start talking to people early in the morning, maybe even tonight. It could happen after this is all over. I'm hoping that we get a chance, or Sunday's right next to me, so I'm hoping we get a chance to maybe chat a little bit, or just build that bond and make that relationship, so that way we can try and see. I want to keep this team strong because we need to win challenges. If we don't have a strong team, we're going to be picked off one by one. So you really just have to, this game moves quick, so you have to move quick with it.
What kind of challenges do you think you would excel in, and what strengths do you bring?
I don't really have any strengths. I'm actually good at word puzzles. I was able to do that fire is life thing really quickly. I'd worked that out way before everybody else, but I just didn't want to say so. Don't think I can do anything else. I'm just exhausted already, so I'm not going to be able to do anything that involves running around tomorrow.
What would be your worst nightmare challenge?
Oh, like digging and eating, digging for stuff, because it's just gross. Digging was terrible. I don't like to eat gross things. I don't like to get sweaty. Anything that involves a lot of moving around, I would just rather not.
So why the hell did you do this?
Well, this is the thing, because objectively, I don't enjoy any of this stuff, and I really want to do it. It's the strangest thing, because whenever I talk to my husband about it, he's just like, "What are you even thinking? Are you even thinking?" And I'm like, "I'm not actually sure at this point," which is why I really needed to come and do this, just to see where my head is at. I'm not even making any sense. That's actually where I'm at with this right now.
Who do you want to cuddle with most?
Mike with the important question.
Oh, everybody smells already. I probably smell, so...
Who smells the worst?
I think it's Nick, but I don't want to hold it against him because he's the best at making fire.
It smells too, you don't want to hold anything against
him. Well, that's a very good point. But he really went at the fire making, so I totally get it. But in an enclosed space, I think it's very... Everyone's also taken their shoes and socks off, which I thought was a little bit much. I think that may be a British thing again. I just wouldn't do that. Also, they're lying on my blanket, so could you not put your gross feet on my blanket? Everybody smells. Where was I going? I'm just happy with a warm body.
From the confessional standpoint, outstanding.
Even worse, if I actually did the real thing, there is nothing I hate more than the beach. Literally. I just can't. I'll be one, I'm super pale because I'm British, so I burn in all of 5 minutes. I'm sweaty again, and somebody will walk right next to my towel and brush sand all over it, and it's just now I have to leave. I'm done. So... I don't know what's going on.
As valid as any answer.
Yeah. Honestly, if I make it to the end, I fucking better win because people should be like, how on earth did he do it? So...